are about to connect with people who are ready to bring you the most open, honest, and revealing life stories. Welcome to journeyTV. Hi, and welcome to today's episode of journeyTV. I'm Merlene Camille, your host, and today I have a special guest here with me, Dania Miller. Dania.
Hi.
Welcome to journeyTV. It's a pleasure to have you.
Happy to be here.
Awesome. So Dania, I want you to let our viewers know about you. I've just recently met you, but I feel like I know you already based on our conversation. So have a conversation with our viewers. Tell them about you.
Well, my name's Dania, and I have an academic background as a civil engineer, but I'm actually a writer, a creative writer. I started blogging in 2016. So that's kind of where I picked up creative writing again. And right now I do a lot of Instagram work at dania.writes on Instagram. And I talk a lot about faith and feelings, how faith applies to feelings. Yeah. So I'm a very emotional person. I have a lot of feelings, but I enjoy helping people navigate the soul realm and how they deal with their emotions and their feelings. And I myself have a history with mental health struggles, so that's one of the things that I talk about a lot on my platform. And I encourage people to engage their feelings, engage their emotions, just so that we can become stronger, more emotionally intelligent and aware people.
I already feel inspired. Oh, we're only 30 seconds in and I already feel inspired. Your light is so bright.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So tell us about you as a child. We see you, today smiling bright and, pushing through. How was Dania as a child?
Ooh, I was very perfectionistic, I would say, hyper-focused, somewhat irritable, I will say, very emotional. I had big feelings. I think I was very creative, but I was also very nerdy. So my family and friends kind of pushed me in that direction a lot. So I was very booky. I read a lot. I wrote a lot. And now I'm circling back to that in my adulthood, but I'm still very much I love to study, love to research, love school, have hopes of being Professor Dania one day.
Awesome.
That's kind of my leaning. So as a child, that's kind of how I was, and I was very moody. I would say that's the word I would use, definitely. Yeah, so I could go from perfectly fine, chipper happy, to in a hallway somewhere crying, not necessarily understanding why. Yeah, so as I grew into my teenagerdom, that kind of morphed into a lot of irritability, a lot of feeling uneasy about my surroundings and myself, a lot of snappiness, not knowing how to cope with that into my early 20s, same thing. And the stress of college actually escalated it to a point where I wasn't just angry, I was sad a lot. So I would swing from perfectly fine to super sad and not really knowing how to manage that, how to balance that. And so I'm 28 now, I'll be 29 in a couple of weeks, and that journey has been just learning myself and trying to figure out how to temper that out. But I realize now in my adulthood, these feelings have always been there. It's just a matter of me, managing them out and learning to love myself and all of me.
Awesome. So you mentioned Dania Writes, and you've been very open with your journey through depression. And you also just mentioned just now, I guess, your ups and downs as a child and a teenager, but now you've evolved where you've embraced all of that and now you recognize what it is. So share more about that journey, just understanding what it was that you were facing and some of the things that you would have done to try to balance that off and develop life skills and
So I didn't actually have a word for what I was feeling and the ups and downs and kind of turmoil until I was 21. I was 21 going on 22. And someone who was dealing with depression and was actually on antidepressants, she was a woman of faith, practiced faith in a way I'd never seen before in my life. I was living with her at the time, actually, when I was in college, and she saw me and saw the way that I was moving through life and how I was having a really hard time getting out of bed, and I would cry everywhere. I was crying all the time, and I just wasn't able to basically cope. And she had a talk with me, and she said, "I think you're depressed." And the minute she said it, it's like a light went on in my brain, and I still have never had an experience like that before. Wow. And I immediately knew that's exactly what it was. And not only was it what I was dealing with right then, it was what I'd been dealing with all my life. It just looked different at different stages of my growth and development. So once I knew, I started to really wrestle with, okay, how do I, because there's so much misinformation out there about depression. There's still so much people don't know about mental health and mental illness. And I was like, I don't even know how to deal with this. And quite frankly, I didn't for a while. I kind of just rode the wave of my emotions. And it's not been until recently, so about 4 years ago, I said, I have to take this bull by the horns because this thing isn't going away. And I kept having really bad episodes, and I was like, I need to be able to live my life. And there are people who live well and still manage depression. How do I do that? And I found that the first step for me was radical self-awareness. I mean, like asking myself the kinds of questions that make people around me cringe. And I'm now that type of person who will ask you a question that makes you cringe. It's kind of like my hallmark. That's like what I do. I believe that emotional intelligence has been a war weapon in my hands. I have to be able to identify what is me and what is the depression. Because while it's something that people can identify with, it doesn't define me. It's not my identity. It's not all that I am. And it's not the reason why I have certain reactions. Sometimes I react a certain way because of things that have happened in my past. Maybe I'm just having a bad day. I can't take everything that I'm going through and throw it at the feet of depression. But it is something that deeply impacts me. And last year was very, very rough. I was up and down and up and down. And, you know, we're in the middle of a pandemic. I call it a panini press, but it was interesting. It was just because so much changed at once, and routine is something that I lean on heavily because it really does help me to those life skills that you were talking about. Routine helps me to move through my life when I don't feel like it. So I'm often in my feelings. I'm not a person who wakes up every single day and I have like this will to live and this zeal and this excitement. I wake up, I go straight to routine because that's just not my disposition. And that's also something I've had to war with is I'm just not a naturally super joyful, super happy dispositioned person. But that does not mean that I can't practice those things, and it doesn't mean that I'm a horrible person. It doesn't mean that I'm necessarily doing anything wrong, but I have the power to turn my day. Now, sometimes I'm being impacted by depression. Me acknowledging that as early on in the day as possible is great, because then I can tell the difference. I'm demotivated because I'm depressed. I'm struggling because I'm depressed. I'm scatterbrained because I'm depressed. And then I know how to approach myself and the things that I need to do in order to give myself more support to make it through certain seasons and certain times.
So your life is ministry, Dania. So we're gonna take a quick break and come right back to finish your journey. Don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back on journeyTV.
Nkosi Kweku Simonette, CEO and Operations Manager at Sign Island. Sign Island started from desperation. My wife went ahead and bought the first printer. I still have no idea how we are where we are. I owe it all to my staff and my customers. You need support. One man is not an island. You can't do it on your own. If you think you can do it on your own and you are succeeding, you can do even more with a little bit of support. The support I've got from my clients has been amazing.
It's taken me years to get here. I think we often look at people who seem to have a grip on something and a hold on something and think that's how they always are, and two, like that's where they started. This was a complete journey for me, and it's like I call it emotional whiplash when you have a day when everything is great and then the next day is trash and it's absolutely horrible, and you often wish that like, should I not have even had that good day? Because the comeback it seems so insurmountable. It seems so difficult. But over the years, like you have to trust and you have to believe that as you continue to work at things, tiny steps take you so far. And you know, the things that I'm seeing the harvest now of routines that I have been doing for years and didn't see the benefit of.
Help someone who does not have this battle understand what this battle looks like, what it feels like, so that, you know, we can understand more and we can support more. Because many people, I know different. I know different because, you know, every family is exposed to it. Some embrace it, some don't. But someone who just thinks that, okay, depression just means you're in a bad mood, or depression just means that you're just sad, like get over it. Oh, well, if you go around, if you go out and have a good time, you're gonna not feel depressed anymore. Just get up and do that.
It's not just a mental thing. It is very mental. It's also emotional. It's also physical. You feel it in your body, right? It's like a heaviness. It's like a weight. I physically move differently when I'm going through or being affected by depression. It's not just a feeling. It's not something you can think yourself out of. It's not something you can just get over. It's not something that you can just shake off and move on with yourself. It's not just a mood. It's literally a state that you have to walk through, right? I call it the fog. The depression, because that's how it feels. Everything's foggy. My vision isn't very clear. I can't really see where I'm going. I can't really feel even the people around me. I have to use all of my energy to just stay on course.
So you have to take it with you with every step. You just have to learn how to, and I don't want to say the wrong thing, because I understand it, but I can't fully understand it.
Right.
So if you're taking it with you, you learn to function with it, or you learn to try to beat it or suppress it, or?
I say that I manage depression, meaning I feel it all the time. You feel it all the time. Every day I can wake up and literally choose it or not. Wow. And sometimes it's so pervasive, it's so heavy that no matter what I do, it's still there. And I have to find a way to move through my day with it, right? So I can't always control when it shows up or how strong it is. I can only try to manage my response. And depending on how much it's exerting against me, it's literally like an outside force. And that's why I say I have to separate depression from Dania, because it's not me. It's not me. And having that knowledge helps me to also not beat myself up when I'm not able to perform at a level that I want to. Right. When I'm not able to have an output or a response that I want to.
So Dania, you are very open with your struggle, and like you mentioned earlier, in our community, this is not a topic that people are vocal about. This isn't even a topic, like I said, that a lot of families embrace. So many people are struggling alone because their families, one, don't understand it, and then two, they see it in a certain light. What was it that got you to this point to be so vocal about your journey with depression?
Well, first of all, it's not as simple or as easy as people think. I'm able to talk about a lot of it because I've processed through a lot of it. I've learned that I'm the type of person, I have to go through something, process it, put some perspective on it, get the wisdom out of it before I can talk about it openly. And that's just to protect myself. Right. If I can potentially still be ripped to shreds about something, you won't find me talking about it in a public place. I've processed through a lot of this, so I'm able to be this vocal now because this is a journey I've been on, right? And it's something I still experience, but I have a certain level of awareness and knowledge about it that I think I can help people who are still floundering, kind of. But there are times when I press publish on a blog post and I'm still sweating. Okay. Like I'm still nervous. There will always be a chance that people will reject you, that people will call you crazy, that people will say you just being extra emotional. People will say this girl just need to get over it. This girl just want an excuse. People who don't get it, there will always be a chance of me being rejected because I'm so open about it. To be completely honest with you, and this is where I take a page out of my best friend Catherine's book, that's literally out of your control. You cannot control it. And you cannot worry about it, because if you do, you won't get anything done.
You won't get anything done. You stay trapped. You stay in a prison.
Right, exactly.
So what is your goal in sharing your journey?
Honestly, awareness. I just want people talking about it. I want more conversations happening about it. The issue with mental health and mental illness, I think the biggest time the time that it's the most weaponized is when it's not spoken about. I need people to be more candid and open, and if me sharing my story helps people to have this conversation in a way that they would not have otherwise had it, then it's worth it for me.
Wow. So in closing, I want you to give some advice to our viewers out there who may be watching, who are struggling through depression, and they may not be as aware as you are, as strong as you are. And then also I want you to give advice to those people around them who are supporting them, to get through?
Well, to the people who think that they might be struggling with depression, it might be worth it to go and see a therapist or talk to a professional if they are accessible to you, just so that you can get an idea of what's going on. If you need an outside opinion, on a low-level scale, talk to your people. I think depression really puts relationships to the test, and you have to be able and willing to trust your people with your struggle. So have a conversation with your friends. And also, after that, begin to ask yourself probing questions, questions that really matter, questions that carry a lot of weight. Heavy questions, get into reading. Follow different psychologists and psychiatrists on Instagram. I always point people in the direction of Dr. Anita Phillips. She's a licensed she's excellent, and her podcast is a wonderful resource. Dr. Henry Cloud, Dr. John Townsend. These are psychologists who have a great language and library for mental health struggles and for depression. For the people who are supporting those struggling with depression, try your best to be kind. You may not understand it, but listen. Actively listen. Really provide space for them to be honest about what it is they're going through and what it is that they're feeling. And don't feel like it's your job to have an answer all the time. You don't have to bring a platter of solutions. Sometimes when you're watching someone that you love go through a hard thing, you feel like, I don't know what to do, so I need them to tell me what to do. Don't put that on them. Really contend with your own helplessness. Though, I don't know what to do. I know that that's okay. Sometimes you just need to be present with them, right? And I think being compassionate and empathetic can go a super duper long way. Do your own research. If there's someone that's super close to you, look it up and really start to confront your own mindsets and beliefs about depression. The things that you might think about it that you may not even realize that you think about it, and confront your own biases, any stereotypes you might be holding on to. Do your work, and that will help you to be a better support system to someone who needs you.
Awesome. You sat here and you ministered into me, and I'm sure you ministered into all of our viewers. You are brave, you are courageous, and I thank you for being so vocal.
Thank you.
I believe that the goal that you are trying to accomplish, you will accomplish it on a level that you don't even know that you will accomplish it on. God is going to blow your mind. He is going to use you as a vessel to save his people. So Dania, I want you to share your contacts and your social media handles with our viewers so that they can follow your journey and learn more about, depression and, like you said, faith over feelings. So if you could share those handles with our viewers.
Sure. So I actually have a blog, DaniaWrites.com, and I have an Instagram page, Dania.Writes, so at Dania.Writes. And I post there almost every single day. I'm always in my stories. We love a good laugh, but we also love a good, heavy, meaty conversation. So if you're into that kind of thing, or if you want to be into that kind of thing, definitely give me a follow.
Okay, Dania, thank you so much again. I will be following you. I will be following your journey, and I will be cheering for you. We'll be right back with our community highlights.
Want to learn more about our guests? Subscribe to Footprints Journey blog, where special features will be released to give you more insight into their journeys and allow you to ask them questions.
We want you to journey with us.
Footprints! I am an overcomer.
I am an overcomer. I am an overcomer.
And you? You are an overcomer. I know because you have endured and persevered through so many of life's biggest challenges.
Join us for stories like yours, stories of incredible strength, courage, and survival. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m. right here on RTV.
journeyTV.
journeyTV.
We share
life's truths.
The Give Back, presented by Ensure. Your life, your health, your Ensure.
I'm Telsine Pinderole, the founder and president of Home to School. Home to School is a non-profit organization where we give breakfast to kids at T.A. Thompson. Our organization consists of where we give personal items, anything that the children is in need of, we make sure that we have it to provide for our students. The passion behind why I started this whole organization, I was once one of those kids. I went to school, me and my siblings, many times without breakfast or lunch. There were some times when mommy and daddy could have afforded to give us what we want, but there were times when we didn't have it. So I know what that child is going through. So I feel the passion and sometimes I feel the pain. And we want to make sure that we're there to provide what is necessary for our kids so they can be better leaders of this society. Home to school is more broader than just giving the breakfast to the kids. We don't look at them lesser than the other child that is at the school. We make sure that they feel comfortable. We make sure that they're loved. We provide breakfast. We give them personal items. We provide that one-on-one. If they need someone to counsel them, we're there for that. We have opportunities where kids are doing really well in school and we reward them for that. We have different things that we do. If the child comes to school, our goal is to make sure that the child gets to school on time. So we are there to make sure that child can get that healthy breakfast and start that day off right. So we provide all the personal stuff. We were given a whole kitchen and it has a full bathroom. So we have that bathroom set up, we have the kitchen set up so the child feel comfortable coming there to us. So everything is right at our hands, and so we are there just to give whatever is needed. So I do it at T.A. Thompson, reason being, I pass that school every day going to work, and it's easy for me to get there. And when I'm not there, I have my colleagues, my co-workers, my family, everyone is there helping me along the way. It's just not me, I couldn't have done it alone. My directors of the organization consist of my sister Linda Lewis, Dr. Janine Moss, Dennis Skinner, Gia Saunders, Margarita Sands, Dennis Brown, Tiffany Wilson, and Sophia Edgecombe. They're the board members. And those persons who have poured into Home to School, I would like to thank them from the bottom of my heart. I would like to thank the Nassau Garden Club, the Dalbenas Agency, Bahamas Food Service, Asa H. Pritchett, Bahama Breeze Water Company, Karen Carey, Terry Adderley, Gina Knowles, Master Technician Rondi Trico, all of my sisters, Marcy Webb. Thank you all so much. Member of Parliament for St. Barnabas, Shannon Dawn Cartwright. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate each and every one of you and all of my sisters. And last but not least, my husband James Rowe, my son Courtney, and my daughter Jamie. Thank you all so much. I could not have done it without all of you. Home to School, thank each and every one of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If anyone would like to donate to Home to School or even lend your support by coming and helping us, just giving voluntary, you can reach out to us. We have accounts open at Bahamas Food Service, Asa H. Pritchett, Dalbenas Agency, or even you can just reach out to one of the committee members and they'll be more than happy to help. You don't have to just give money. You can go in the food store and buy water, buy fruits, whatever you can just reach out to us and we'll be able to pick up those items so we can have them for our students.
Move with strength and energy. Drinking Ensure, you get vitamins, minerals, and up to 30 grams of high-quality protein. Your life, your health, your Ensure.
Earlier we met Dania Miller and she was very open about her journey through depression. Her story is very powerful. She developed certain life skills over her lifespan that has been able to sustain her and help her thrive through depression.
Mm-hmm. I am happy that you said that because that's a prime example about something that's extremely important for people to know about depression. Mm-hmm. It's common, it's a serious medical issue, but it is treatable. So when you look at the most treatable mental health issues that exist, depression is one of them. Mm-hmm. So I'm happy that she was able to share that story with you. Another thing is that depression, it's common and it happens between or among men and women, but it's most prevalent among women. Oh, wow. Also, yeah, women are diagnosed more with depression, and also it can appear as early as your late teens and into your mid-20s, but we do know that it can happen at any point in your life. What I need people to know about, or would like people to know about depression, is that not only is it treatable, but depression is real. It's a weight that people carry along. And if you've never experienced depression yourself, it could be difficult sometimes to see it from the lens of the person that is carrying that weight. Mm-hmm. And depression is sometimes characterized by a sense of hopelessness. So you're hopeless about life itself. You're hopeless about you and your abilities, your capabilities. And then you also feel a sense of worthlessness. Most people, when they think or hear depression, they think just sadness. But along with that sadness also comes worthlessness, hopelessness, loss of energy, fatigue. And these things impact a person's, not just their relationship and self, but also their performance at work.
So I would want you to tell our viewers, first of all, how they can identify, because some people are struggling and they don't even realize what they're struggling with. Some people realize it later in life, but she actually talked about going through her childhood and her adolescence and knowing that something was going on, but she didn't know what that something was. So I want you to tell viewers out there who may be struggling, but they don't even know what they're struggling with, what they should look for. And then you can close us out with just what steps they should take.
Okay, good. So with depression, first of all, it's important to know what the symptoms are. So if you realize over a 2-week period that you have lost interest in the activities that you've done for weeks, for months, for years, for your entire lifetime, or you realize that you feel this sadness, you're not interested in going to work, you're not even interested in taking a shower, you may realize that there's a change in your appetite. Okay, you're either eating more or eating less, you're gaining weight, and it has nothing to do with a diet plan that you just took on. You may also realize that you like to be in a dark room, you want your windows closed or your curtains drawn. You may also feel a sense of fatigue. I just don't have the energy to do this. I can't go into work today. You start to beat up on yourself, and that's, oh God, depression is so awful because depression makes you feel as though you've done something wrong. So you begin to blame yourself. What did I do wrong? I'm worthless. There's no hope for me. Nobody will care if I'm not here. And if you suffer from major depression, that's even worse because you begin to have suicidal thoughts as though it would be better, the world would be better without you here. So if those are some of the things that you are experiencing, speak to your primary care physician. Let them know when you go in for a checkup to do a mental health exam to figure out or to help to diagnose you. Or you can see a therapist, or you can see your counselor, but talk to someone about it. So mental health education is actually the first step. And there are ways that it can be treated. It can be treated with talk therapy, which is called psychotherapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, as well as medication, but that will depend on if you are diagnosed to have had or have some chemical imbalance that's going on with the brain. So I want people to know in my closing that you don't have to suffer alone, as people have done for years with depression. Depression is treatable. You are not alone with depression because there are so many people who suffer in silence with it.
Thank you so much, Philippa. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Journey TV. Until next time, give love and light to the people around you, but most importantly, don't you forget to give it to yourself. Join us next time for more Journey TV.